Genesis 1, verse number 6. Und Gott sprach, es soll Raum zwischen den Wassern entstehen, der die Wasser voneinander trennt. We have a few new vocabularies, let's look into that. So we have the word Raum, which means room, space, area or chamber, and the word Raum can refer to anything that requires space, or it can be an empty space. In addition to that, we also have the word Weltraum in German, which means outer space. So everything that is not on Earth can be referred to as Weltraum. Then we have the word zwischen, which is a preposition. It can mean between or among. Then we have voneinander, which is an adverb, means from another or of each other. And then we have trennt, which is the present tense of trennte, which we had before. And it also means separate, or it can also mean disconnect, divide, part, remove. There can be many translations for this word. Okay, let's translate the whole sentence. It's, and God said, there shall be space between the waters that separates the waters from one another. Here we have the word that or der, which in this case refers to Raum. So it's the room that separates the waters. We can be sure that this is the room that separates the waters and not the waters that separate the waters, because we have der and Raum is the only masculine noun in the first Hauptsatz. So if this was die, then it would mean the waters would separate the waters from each other. But that's not what it says, so der Raum separates the waters. We learned earlier in verse number 2 that Wassern can be used as the plural of water. In the Hauptsatz there is the article den, but in the Nebensatz there is the article die. So we have den Wassern and die Wasser. So let's talk about that a little bit. In German, the definite articles are formed depending on each of the four grammatical cases and also depending on each of the four grammatical genders. So 4 genders, 4 cases, this equals 12 possible definite articles. Let me give you a list. The genders are masculine, feminine, neutral, and plural. And the genders ultimately depend on the noun. And that is why I told you earlier that you need to know the grammatical genders for your nouns. The cases, however, are nominative, genitive, dative, and accusative, and they depend on the sentence structure. Case in German means Fall, and sometimes you will hear the Latin word, which is casus. These cases are probably the hardest thing when you learn German, so don't be sad if you don't understand it right away. Even native speakers make mistakes from time to time, and most people will understand you even if you get some articles wrong. However, there are other videos that explain them in detail, but here I just want to mention the ones that we see in the sentence. So the default of the plural is usually die. However, the Hauptsatz uses the word zwischen, and therefore it must be the dative case. Dative and plural means den, and this is why the sentence uses den Wassern, because of this word zwischen. There are some other prepositions that require the dative. These are, for instance, aus, bei, entgegen, entsprechend, gegenüber, gemäß, nach, nahe, nebst, samt, seit, von, or zu, and of course zwischen. And in the Nebensatz we use die Wasser because this is the case nominative. So let's color this. We have 3 sentences, or we have this sentence and then a quote, and within the quote we have 1 main sentence or 1 Hauptsatz and 1 Nebensatz. In the first sentence we have 1 subject and 1 verb. Then we have es soll Raum zwischen den Wassern entstehen. Soll is the verb Raum is the subject. Zwischen den Wassern is an adverbial of location. Then entstehen belongs to the verb. Then der is the subject. Die Wasser is the object. Voneinander is an adverbial. And trennt finally is a verb. Und Gott sprach, es soll Raum zwischen den Wassern entstehen, der die Wasser voneinander trennt. And God said, there shall be space between the waters that separates the waters from one another.